question 4. How was the MIP workshop created? It was created in Dano's secret laboratory.
To understand how MIP was created, we have to travel back to the 1990s. The 1990s were a very difficult period for the MIP community. In particular, there were very few and rather slow publication venues. So what venues were there? Well, there were the journals like Math Programming, already extremely slow. Moreover, not just slow, but the publications that one could send to Math Programming were supposed to be very complete at a very mature stage, not at an early stage. Difficult for a junior researcher and very slow. What else was there? Well, there was the journal Operations Research, not really very well aligned with MIP, with computational MIP. There was the IPCO workshop only twice every 3 years. Half of IPCO was always theoretical computer science. And so we're talking about 15 papers twice every 3 years, perhaps, that one could, where one could publish mixed integer programming. And in particular, computational mixed integer programming was way underrepresented. What else was there? There was ISMP. Once every 3 years. Why once every 3 years? I don't know. It still is like that. Not a very effective venue for communicating exciting new research. It was really difficult to compete, in particular with the computer science community, the algorithms community. They already had at least 2 highly recognized conferences every year with much higher volume. They were just seen as intellectually dominant, and we were being seen as waning. The job market was becoming very difficult for integer programming. There were not that many jobs, and moreover, the job opportunities were diminishing. Various departments that had an integer programming focus or component were going away. They went away. I was becoming very frustrated over this, so I decided that we needed a new venue. And I started talking to colleagues. It was a very slow process, very difficult. It was a charged thought. More senior people were not supportive, but nevertheless, I was losing my patience. And by 2003, I decided to call this meeting. And to be sure, those people who attended were very highly supported. They got the point. They understood it. That first meeting was very, very useful, and immediately a number of the people who attended, they become sold on the idea, and they helped a lot. They actually developed the workshop. I would like to highlight Jeff Linderoth, Oktay Gunluk, Alper Atanturk, Ismael de Farias, who unfortunately is no longer with us, Francois Margol, many others, Ted Ralph, Sanjeev, Andrew Miller, and so on, all highly supportive, Lassi Ladani. Jeff, I believe, came up with the idea of holding a second one at IMA. IMA was a highly recognized venue, well-funded, and so on. I convinced IMA to host us, and the second workshop happened in 2005. That was a very successful workshop that some senior people actually attended. And then the momentum gathered at that point, and then history happened. The various local committees that ran MIP over the years really are responsible for MIP being created. They took the idea that we had and they made it happen, and it has worked very well.
How was MIP created? Now, I remember that very well. I was a postdoc at Columbia at that time, and the person who basically single-handedly created this conference sequence is Dan Beanstalk. So I think we should all be grateful to him. He basically told a number of young researchers at that time, I was still working in MIP, right now I'm not, that there should be some conferences that are organized by young people. So somehow in the spirit of some of the most prestigious computer science conferences, And the first one was called just Discussions on MIP. That was held at Columbia University. That was very informal. And then later on, it became a bit more formal. Then organized the first few. And after that, he handed off the reins to young people. And I think it became a very successful sequence of conferences.
So then there is the funny one that is, I consider it on the funny side. So name one person with a lasting impact on the MIP workshop. And it's easy for me to, let's say, name Oktay Gunluk, because in the 2005 MIP workshop in Minnesota was the one starting his talk. So incipit of his talk was, "Our purpose in life is to generate cutting planes." I think that is the best start for a talk, and I think it was very influential for me and for the rest of the community.
Number 11. Name one person with a lasting impact on the MIP workshop. Briefly explain why this person was impactful. Everyone who answers this is going to say Dan Beanstalk, and that answer is correct, but that answer is too easy. So I am going to say Doug Arnold, who was director of the Institute for Mathematics and Application, the IMA, in 2015, who approved our workshop request. In 2005, who approved our workshop request in 2005. That workshop really started it all and showed the interest in the field. Without that 2005 workshop and Doug and the committee approving that, I'm not actually sure that the MIP workshop would have continued and grown into what it is today. I'd also like to take this moment to actually name another person with a lasting impact on the MIP workshop, and that is our comrade Ismail Defarius, who passed away last year and was one of the pioneers who attended MIP number 0. Ismail always had a smile for everyone and 15 extra slides to go at the end of each and every one of his talks.
Name one person with a lasting impact on the MIP workshop and briefly explain why this person was impactful. I'm going to cheat a bit and say, well, Dan Beanstalk, obviously, because I think this was his vision for the workshop. But I think his name will be mentioned by other people. So one other person that to me also had a big significant impact in the workshop was Jeff. I think this atmosphere of friendliness, of being open, and of being accessible, particularly to younger people when you're a student, is one of the special things about the workshop. And I think Jeff plays a significant role in that, not only with the human pyramids and so on, which is sort of a fun thing to do, but he always tries to involve students, make students at ease and be friendly, and make everybody feel welcome. And I think that's a very nice thing, and that contributes very much to the atmosphere of the MIP workshop.
So question number 11, name one person with lasting impact on the MIP workshop. So to me, Dan Beanstalk is the person who has the most impact on the MIP workshop. He was the one to organize the first one. And I think more importantly, he had the foresight to see that MIP research in North America needed a place to build community, and that building this community was crucial to ensure the survival of IP as a vibrant field of research. So I'm very thankful to Dan for that insight.
Six, in your opinion, how much has the MIP workshop evolved throughout the years? In my opinion, not much. And I think that's a good thing.
In your opinion, how much has the MIP workshop evolved throughout the years? I would say just enough. Over the years, we have new additions like the best poster competition or the competition competition. but I think these additions have been done in a way that doesn't change the spirit of the workshop.
Let's see, how much has the MIP workshop evolved throughout the years? I would say it's evolved a lot in good ways. So it started off very small and with a very small group of people. It's grown significantly in numbers, but also in structure, with having much bigger poster competitions than we used to have before. There's now actually a competition where students are awarded prizes. There's also computational competitions. So, and the structure also behind the scenes with the creation of the co-MIPs. So the underlying organizational structure also is becoming hopefully easier to manage. So it's evolved a lot. But in some ways, it's also retained its original philosophy, which is to me a good thing, which I thought it was a great idea to have from the beginning, and we were able to maintain that, which is great.
Uh, 13, describe your vision for the future of MIP. I have no vision for the future of MIP. I think our community is doing fine, actually, and I'm proud of our community.
Question 13. How would I like to see MIP evolve? I would like to see it evolve so that it becomes an actual community with activities year-round. Perhaps other workshops, maybe another workshop that is purely computationally oriented, maybe a workshop that is more focused on actual applications, maybe a workshop in Europe. The community needs to decide, but basically the idea is to make MIP be something that is happening year-round, okay, an actual community. Down the line, maybe years from now, have MIP provide awards, some actual recognition. That is something that every community does. And there's no reason why we should not do it as well.